My name is Alvin Toffler, and I'm a futurist. All of us think about the future, but a futurist devotes more time to thinking about the long-term future, not just what's going to happen next. And we write books, and we go around the world talking to people who are, in fact, making the future. So that this is not some mystical exercise in Nostradamus-style prediction, but an attempt to find out who are the people that are changing or will be changing our lives in the years and decades ahead.
It's a wonderful age on a beautiful stage demonstrated for you, been created for you. It's just a part of the thrilling start of century 21.
Having watched the arrival of new technologies and having lived through the 60s and seen a whole bunch of other social changes taking place, I concluded that change was in fact accelerating and that most people didn't have a kind of organized picture of what was going on. And so we began thinking about this and trying to organize our heads and create mental models for trying to understand this. It was the dawning recognition on our part that something humongous was happening, and that it was like secret knowledge because nobody else got it. It occurred to us that when you go to a foreign culture, you're bombarded by strange cues, by visual and sound and other inputs that may be different from the ones in your own culture, and that are hard for you to understand, and some people get truly disoriented and upset, and the sociologists and anthropologists call it culture shock. What happens if a new environment comes to you, where you are, and comes to you rapidly, so that you don't understand its inputs, its cues? And the answer to us was, if you can have culture shock by relocating to another location in space, you could have future shock by, in effect, relocating in time. A future comes towards you that you don't understand. I also hear more people than ever complaining about being time harassed, time squeezed, time, overworked, too many hours. And I think everybody feels this pressure. You're under pressure, usually, to make more and more decisions in shorter and shorter intervals of time. And guess what? There's a limit beyond which we don't make very good decisions. If we push ourselves to decide quickly about things that are terribly complex, the chances are we're going to make some serious mistakes. And we do. The hope was computers would solve this problem.
The miracle of the computer was its ability to calculate in split seconds and then provide printed information. For the lightning shifts of air battle, the Air Force requested from IBM a computer capable of translating volumes of changing data into a continuous flow of interpretations, which could be understood at a glance. Given this objective, IBM applied the latest extension of data processing, the display scope.
The computer would simplify decision-making. Well, in fact, what's happened? The computer does simplify decision-making, but it complexifies everything else, so you have to make more complex decisions anyway. The computer as a source of complexity, as well as a machine for dealing with complexity, has not yet been fully understood. 10,000 years ago, some prehistoric genius planted the first seed. Essentially, that was the invention of agriculture. That was a phenomenal change. That revolutionary change moved very slowly across the planet at the rate of 1 kilometer per year for 5 or 10,000 years. 300 years ago, the Industrial Revolution exploded in Europe and led to a totally different wealth creation system called industrialization. And that was a thunderbolt. That was a true transformation. It's not just the steam engine. It's not just technology. And that's the important thing we can sometimes forget. that technology and culture are like this.
Machines, inventions, power, black out the past. Forget the quiet cities. Bring in the steam and steel, the iron men, the giants. Open the throttle, all aboard, the promised land. Pillars of smoke by day, pillars of fire by night, pillars of progress. Machines to make machines, production to expand production. There's wood and wheat and kitchen sinks and calico, all ready-made in tons and carload lots. Enough for tens, thousands, millions, millions, faster and faster, better and better.
You can't get one without the other. Technology and social change are like this. They're all interrelated. The Industrial Revolution changed not just the technologies of production. It meant that people stopped being peasants. They became urban industrial people. Totally different value systems, totally different forms of social organization, new institutions. They invented department stores. They invented post offices. Social inventions, not just technological inventions.
The miracle of high-speed wire communication is commonplace today. Lift a telephone receiver and the world is at your fingertips.
Can you take it now? Yes,
It's the civilization that gave rise to the world that most of us watching this were born into. A world of mass production, mass consumption, mass education, mass media, mass entertainment, mass recreation, and in some countries, weapons of mass destruction. And in that kind of a world, conformity is idealized. You are supposed to be like everybody else. And that is because it is economically advantageous for that system to produce people who are prepared to spend their lives doing rote and repetitive, basically unthinking work on assembly lines or in offices built to operate like assembly lines. And that product of the Industrial Revolution is not just an economy, it's a way of life.
With the growth of factories, the family as an economic unit with a division of labor began to disappear. Factories hired individuals, not families. Industrial expansion brought with it the growth of cities, and this too changed the traditional pattern of family life.
And it is that civilization that is now cracking at the seams. Its main institutions are in crisis. And there is, I believe, a smell of decadence about it.